What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the decidedly debonair Dr. Disaster, and the review embargo has been lifted for Assassin's Creed Shadows, meaning that the so-called professional reviewers who are given access to the game early are allowed to post their thoughts on the game, and, would you look at that, they're giving it an 82 out of 100, and I have been reliably informed by a few commenters on my videos that this is it. The jig is up.
Guess I'm a little out of my league here.
A good review score on Metacritic means that the game is good, and it's gonna sell like gangbusters. Good game, everyone.
Oh, there is just one more thing.
On the other hand, there's always the fact that gamers don't actually give a rat's ass what game journalists have to say about a game. The disconnect between journalists and regular people has been well understood for a long time now. Anyone remember this article from last year? It's time to start trusting video game reviewers.
No, I don't think I will.
I mean, for cripe's sake, these are the same people who gave Dragon Age the Veilguard a freaking 82 out of 100, and then look at what gamers had to say about it, and then look at how it sold. Game journalists saying that a Ubisoft game is good is about as meaningful as a fart after a bowl of chili. It doesn't mean the chili is good, it doesn't mean the chili is bad, it's just something that was bound to happen. In this case, these hoity-toity journalists were always going to say that their corporate masters made a good game. And of course, Ubisoft defenders out there think that this is meaningful.
That was bloody brilliant.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to support the channel by becoming a member. We've got several projects coming up, including exclusive audiobooks and a cartoon coming for members only, because it occurred to me that we can't just complain about what we don't like in our culture, we have to build culture. So, become a member if you'd like to support that venture, but anyhow, let's have a look at these Assassin's Creed Shadows reviews and get a sense of what's going on with the game. I'll tell you one thing though, of all the reviews and everything that we're going to look at, the most telling thing about this release is actually what Ubisoft is saying themselves. This news here, which I'm sure that most of you have heard by now, is absolutely telling when it comes to Ubisoft's confidence, or lack thereof, when it comes to the future reception to this game. Ubisoft reportedly has a bunch of lawyers hired and set aside, ready to sue people for harassing their developers. As a bunch of people have pointed out, this language is extremely nebulous, and it seems to be meant to scare people off from giving negative opinions of the game. After all, what constitutes harassment? For the weak little cupcakes who make up most AAA studios in the West these days, simply saying they did a bad job on a public forum seems to be harassment in their eyes. So yeah, this really sounds like a threat to anyone who wants to say an unkind word about the game. Anyhow, like I said, this is extremely telling. It says to me that Ubisoft expects people to think this is a turd, and the independent reviewers that I've seen on X who don't get a platform on Metacritic, they have been pretty negative about the game, even when they aren't necessarily trying to be. This reviewer statement gives off some pretty boggling questions. They said, Assassin's Creed Shadows is really fun. Naui is one of the most fun characters to play in the series. Yasuke is not fun to play outside of pure combat sequences. Gee, it almost sounds like he's slapped onto the story like an alien appendage, exactly as we suspected all along. He's there for the diversity points. But reading on, it says, great graphics with a dynamic world, story is great until you get dual protagonists, would Shinobi again. The question, though, that really puzzles me is why the story is great until you get dual protagonists. I thought we could play as whoever we wanted to use. If that's the case, then why wouldn't you just switch over to the character that you enjoy and let that be that? This is a sincere question, and apparently I wasn't the only one who wondered about this, and Demion actually replied to this post on X and asked a similar question, and he got a good response. He said, story is great until you get dual protags, so the opening is good because you're locked into one hero, but once you're given the option, it's bad? Genuine question, by the way, what's this mean? And the reviewer replied, the story loses focus and pacing gets much worse. Although the dual protag design allows for better replayability, I personally enjoy a strong narrative that has some emotional impact on me. Yasuke has a great story, but most of it is told in flashbacks, with his true motive for doing everything being revealed literally at the end of the game. This makes it hard to connect with him. By the time you fully appreciate him as a character, the game ends. So once again, as someone who does a spot of writing myself, it really does sound to me like Yasuke was just grafted onto this story, like a little kid making an art project and not knowing when to quit. They just have to glue on as much macaroni as possible, even if it takes away from the original art. Anyhow, then this independent reviewer here wrote, I did not enjoy Assassin's Creed Shadows combat and exploration. It felt restrictive and unbalanced. Story? Mostly boring. The duo protagonists never clicked for me, and one is far more enjoyable to play, but is hamstrung by baffling design. But let's read some of the reviews from Metacritic, keeping in mind that these are, once again, the same people who gave the same exact score to Dragon Age the Veilguard as they gave here to Assassin's Creed Shadows. But anyhow, we'll look at a few of the highest scores and a few of the lower ones, just to get you a sense of what is being said on Metacritic. NME gave it 100 out of 100 and wrote, Assassin's Creed Shadows is the series refresh badly needed after Valhalla, showcasing a huge technical and visual upgrade alongside a new gameplay blueprint. A fantastic story and well-developed characters ground the game in a believable era of Japan that is fun to explore. It confidently sets the standard for the next games in the franchise. And then VG247 also gave it 100, and they said, there are problems with Assassin's Creed Shadows for sure, and I have to pipe in here and say, then why give it a 100? That's supposed to be a score for a perfect game, you idiots. Anyhow, they said, but it's so fun to play. It's telling a gripping story, and there is so much sense of progress and reward for every little thing you do that it actually feels like an open world game that's taking its cues from a modern roguelike or something. Every action has meaning, and the breadcrumbs that tempt you to clean up all the icons on the map are Moorish. This may be one of the biggest Assassin's Creed games ever made, but it also feels like the most well put together. Alright, so you get the picture with the guys at the top of the curve for the review scores. They are clearly just Ubisoft ass kissers, but here is what they say at the bottom of the curve. Fingerguns gave it a 70 of 100 and wrote, outside of the new, most sought-after destination of feudal Japan, Assassin's Creed Shadows never really escapes its own shadow of boilerplate gameplay systems and its tried and true open-world formula the series is known for. Whilst the game is at the same high standard as every other entry, it doesn't truly excel at anything more specific. Metro Game Central also gave it a 70 and said, if you've never liked Assassin's Creed, this won't win you over, but Shadows is a well-made and exciting iteration that's impressively well-polished, even if it lacks any significant new ideas. And all the way at the bottom of the reviews, there's Dual Shockers, who gave it a 55 of 100, and they said Assassin's Creed Shadows is a bloated collection of uninspired quests that quickly turn into a repetitive, boring grind. While the art and history teams deserve recognition for their efforts, it's all unfortunately wasted on a narrative that goes nowhere, is poorly explained, and has no satisfying resolutions. None of the changes and tweaks that Ubisoft brought to the table move the needle, and the game is ultimately more frustrating than it is fun. This is a game that desperately needed to succeed, and instead collapses under its own weight. Future Assassin's Creed releases need to innovate instead of being yet another rehash of games we've already played in different locations. There are other open world games in similar settings that are much more worthy of your time. As for me, that tells me everything I need to know. The game doesn't interest me at all, and in fact, the more I hear about it, the more it seems glaringly obvious that they went well out of their way to shove Yasuke into the story for social justice points, like someone slipping poison into your drink. I'm not interested, but I'm gonna leave it there. What do you guys think? Have the reviewers convinced you? Are you gonna buy the game or no? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.